The Otsutsuki are both the best and worst thing to happen to the Naruto world. They're the best because they add a whole new dimension of world building to the series, bringing with them new dojutsu, ninjutsu, and concepts that would otherwise never have been here. Well, they could have been here with ingenuity, but the point is, the Otsutsuki are celestial beings from a place far away from the Naruto world, and I get excited to see more about them. But the reason they're not as great to many viewpoints is because of how out of nowhere their appearance was. Like, Kaguya just sort of stepped in and usurped the B.B.E.G role right out from under Madara, who had rightfully earned it. Madara had foreshadowing, Kaguya never really did, so it left a sour taste in the mouths of all who saw it. But in the end, the Otsutsuki do make the series better, at least for Boruto's sake. And with this in mind, it opens the question of what their society and homeworld looks like. Because we know so little about it, they're a theorizer's dream, and it gives me the chance to tell a story unlike one I've told before. And today, I hope for us to continue it. I hope you'll join me. But before we begin, welcome to the Amagi. Only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. Naruto stood there in the Great Hall of the Council, tall and strong, looking hardly anything like he had the last time he was here. Behind him stood Kaguya and Ishiki. As Naruto looked down to the small box in his hands, he reflected on how much trouble it was to get the rights to offer up this chakra fruit. But upon hearing the request of Shinsetsu, he relented, believing it to be a favor for someone who he owed a small debt to in the past. Ishiki was a young upstart from a slightly higher family, but he had ambitions, and one of those ambitions was to one day become a councilman as well. He had a rough start, however, and only when Shinsetsu stepped in did he actually get the chance to make his way into leading missions for the Great Directive. And so, his way of paying back Shinsetsu's kindness was to do this, to allow Naruto on his team, which was now an unusual team of 3. And to allow Naruto to present one of their chakra fruits to Hijoshiki, the councilman. In some way, he hoped that this might further increase his standing. This reason, and this reason alone, was why he tolerated any of this. Kaguya, though, was pleased to have Naruto on her team. In the times since they'd begun working together, her feelings for him had only grown, and the older he got, the more handsome he was. A hard worker, he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty, and that was something that Ishiki would often use him for. She felt it was only right that Naruto got this chakra fruit. After all, he was the sacrifice for it. As the councilman entered the room, Hijoshiki appeared before them. He too had grown older. His jawline had grown a bit more defined with age, and behind him stood his wife holding their children. Naruto, standing there before Hijo, knelt down and offered the box, opening it up to show the fruit inside. Hijoshiki looked down upon it. It's plump and colorful, a very high quality fruit, he said. Taking it up in his hands, he gave it a slight squeeze. One of the better fruits I've seen. Which world had to die to produce this one, he asked. Naruto was silent for a moment. It was a jungle world. I've never seen such life before. So green. And now? Hijo asked. Naruto was silent for a moment before speaking. As we left it, I looked back on it. Green hue of the planet, the stark blue water. All had dulled a bit into a yellow and gray. Hijo nodded as he looked down. This is the way of our people, but maybe one day it will not be so. He then began to speak a little louder. For how long will we go on, ravaging this universe for our own benefits? There are worlds out there with intelligent life like ours, and they seek contact with others like them. Are we to slaughter them all for one man to gain just a bit more power than he already had? Seems like an unfair trade to me. The people nearby gave a mixed reaction. The council behind him began to whisper amongst themselves. Surely by now, Himoji was regretting his mistake of allowing Hijoshiki onto the council. But now Hijo was here, and he was furthering their agenda. Rise, Naruto, Hijoshiki said. Naruto stood at his full height. Hijo looked at him and smiled. You've gotten so tall. I remember when your horns came up to only hip level, and now my horns hardly rise past the top of your head, let alone match yours. You truly have grown, big and strong. Our father would be so proud of you. Naruto smiled softly. Thank you, brother. Hijo held the fruit up. I present this to you. Naruto is shocked. I can't accept this. It was a gift for our house to bring prestige and honor. And it has. You are a member of our house, and unlike me and our mother, you have never tasted the fruits of your labor. It's time, Naruto. It's time for you to finally cast off the mantle of servitude and accept your place as a lord of the house. It's been a long time coming." He gestured toward the fruit. Naruto took it up into his hands. "Are you sure, brother?" Naruto asked. Hijoshiki nodded. "Must I command you to eat it, Naruto?" Naruto smiled. Opening his mouth wide, he shoved the whole fruit in, grinding it beneath his teeth before swallowing. The moment he did so, he felt a rush through his body unlike anything he had ever felt before. A great and terrible power coursing through his very blood. He felt as if his whole body were cramping. He let the fruit find settlement in his body. His chakra levels boosted, completely overshadowing everything he was before. Moments later, the pain stopped. The DNA was assimilated, and his body had adapted. Naruto was left speechless from the feeling. From eating this one fruit, he felt all of creation, thousands of years of life compressed down into a single moment. Hijo then spoke with a smile on his face. "Don't forget to breathe, Naruto." Naruto suddenly snapped back and let out a breath he didn't know he was holding in. Once more, he knelt down and took his brother's hand, kissing it. "Stand, Naruto. You are now a peer with me in our house, an equal heir to our father." He pulled Naruto back to his feet. "I am a councilman now, and as such, I am currently in the process of starting my own branch house. As such, I declare you the male heir to our father and mother's household. You are now Lord Naruto of House Shinsetsu. Make us proud." Hijoshiki began to walk away. Naruto returned to Ishiki and Kaguya. Kaguya congratulated Naruto on his new lordship, Ishiki stating that nepotism had its benefits, but further stating that only through hard work could Naruto ascend any further. As they left the room, Nagusame approached her husband. "Hijo, why did you do that? You gave up your role in your own father's house? Did he not leave it to you?" she asked. "Your brother is a worthy heir indeed, but I'm confused. Why would you do this?" Hijo then spoke. "My views and movements threaten the council's old-fashioned nature. They seek to destroy me. Surely you know this. According to the law, those who abandon the great directive may face capital punishment, up to the eradication of their house. My father's house must not be threatened because of my own extreme views. If any are to pay the price for trying to bring about positive change, then it should be me, and me alone." Hijo looked back at Naruto as he talked with Ishiki and Kaguya. Hijo began to smile. For so long, Naruto didn't know what it was to be a lord in his own house. He served us faithfully as a servant, despite his birthright calling for more. He finally has exactly what he deserves, and I will not see that taken away from him. Nagusame leaned forward to kiss her husband. "You know, this is why I love you," she said. "You're not like the others. You never have been. I will support you completely, even in the face of my father. We will save our world, and we will end the great directive permanently," she said. "Then maybe we can give back to the universe we've taken so much from." Hijo looked over to see Himoji and the other councilmen and women looking in his direction out of the corner of their eyes. "You know that the council will not side with you," she said, noticing what he was looking at. "I understand that, but at the same time, democracy rules here. If I can convince enough lords and ladies that my cause is just, it will possibly force the council to change their opinion. It's time for the world to be inherited by a newer, kinder generation. The ways of Shibai are dead, and we must finally bury them." Naruto continued to watch society debate the worthiness of the divine trees. He hoped that one day the great directive would be overturned, but such a thing could only be so if the whole of the Otsutsuki clan decided upon it. Until then, Naruto would have to continue his work. But considering how split the Otsutsuki were about this, how much they craved to see the world renewed, it was something worth believing in. Hijo wasn't stupid enough to believe that he could change everyone's hearts at once, and so he believed that the first step to changing hearts and minds would be to remove the divine trees that surrounded their capital on all sides. He believed that if they could destroy the trees and give back the chakra that they stole, the planet would heal. And when the Otsutsuki saw the rolling green hills and vivid blue oceans again, they would understand that it was the beauty of the world that made this dimension worth living in. They didn't need to ascend to some new utopia. They had the chance to build one here and now, if only they would have the courage to do so. Naruto hoped that someday soon, this would see the world's hearts changed, even if they hated it. Change would have to be slow, and Naruto could not sabotage it by refusing to continue. And so he continued to search the stars with Ishiki and Kaguya, seeking new planets to devour, preferring to choose the ones with little intelligent life if possible. Kaguya would often agree with Naruto, and because of this outweighing of opinions, Ishiki simply had to agree and follow their word. But this was doing nothing more than causing strife within their group. Disdain between Naruto and Kaguya against Ishiki, who saw this as purposeful sabotage of his position and ascension. He needed to make a move soon. As Naruto and Kaguya waited for his arrival, they gazed out at the sun as it began to set. You know, this beauty is something we'll hopefully all get to see. The green grass of the capital will be over the entire world, and then we'll finally have a world worth fighting for. I can't lie, Kaguya said. I've always craved to preserve a world for its beauty. I find the people of other worlds, even if primitive, to be intriguing. I wish to see how they might evolve without the use of chakra fruits, and see if we may do the same. Naruto looked to Kaguya with a smile. Then let us pray that such a time comes, he said. We are soon to become councilmen and women ourselves. How so? Kaguya asked. Ishiki smiled. I located it. Located what? Naruto asked. The world where Shibai ascended from. The planet whose life force and tenacity is so strong that it transformed one of us into a god. Interesting. What is this world? Kaguya asked. Its people call it Earth. It's primitive right now, no technology, but its people do not lack the fighting spirit. Even if their technology and powers are nothing compared to ours, they still possess a raw charisma about them that makes me understand why this was considered the jewel of Shibai's worlds. How did you find it? Naruto asked. I came across old documents detailing a star map. All I needed to do was cross-reference them with existing maps to guess the general location and coordinates. I just came back from a visit there. We've been approved by Councilman Himoji himself to go get a fruit. I've just collected the seed. We'll plant it soon. Kaguya stood and looked to Naruto. Are you ready to go? She asked. Naruto looked back toward the sun. Are we really gonna destroy a whole civilization? It's the great directive, Naruto. This is a one-time chance. Nobody has ever had a chance like this, and nobody will ever have it again. This is Shibai's world, the world where his body rests. Its power will be so potent that it could take a higher-ranking Otsutsuki and raise them to the same status as Shibai. This is done in a controlled environment like we have now. It might be enough to see all of us ascend to the next dimension. Next dimension, Naruto scoffed. Why does everyone crave to go there? Shibai disappeared there and never returned. For all we know, he's in a hellish landscape, hoping to return, but unable to. Why would you like to follow him there? That's why I said this is a controlled experiment, Naruto. The next Otsutsuki god will ascend, see what is there, and return. This is what Himoji has promised me. This next ascension will be all that is required to bring the... Ishiki stopped mid-sentence, drawing Naruto's attention. Bring what? Naruto asked. Bring all this talk of abandoning the great directive to a close. It was here that Naruto understood. This was Himoji's response to Hijoshiki's push. Hijoshiki was planning to show the benefits of abandoning the great directive by hewing down the divine trees on their homeworld. In response, Himoji was planning to become an Otsutsuki god in front of everyone to prove that there was a good reason to continue. Naruto looked back at the sun as it disappeared below the horizon with a sudden flash of green. If he gets that world's power, he'll destroy everything. We'll destroy everything. We will leave this universe a dead husk as we ascend into some unknown dimension just to do the same there. Ishiki stepped forward. Put your politics aside, Naruto. You have a duty to your clan. You understand the cost of abandoning the great directive, do you not? What happens to a clan that no longer partakes? Naruto was silent. Ishiki spoke. Gather your things. We're to Earth. I will not tell you again. Ishiki turned and began to leave. Their journey to Earth was quick. Only a few way stations were needed. When it came to universal travel via Yomotsu Hirasaka, it was common to utilize waypoints. This was called the Flying Raijin Formation. To ensure one didn't get lost, they would teleport to planets marked as way stations, which had specialized talismans buried on them that could draw Otsutsuki in to ensure that they never accidentally teleported into the vacuum of space or into a burning hot star. Apparently this world was within the explored regions, but had been wiped from the records by Shibai at some point, meaning nobody had any clue about its location until this piece of information came up. Upon reaching this world, Kaguya and Ishiki began to bury the seed and help it grow. All the while, Naruto was sent out to find a suitable vessel to place a karma seal on. Keeping his horns hidden under a cloak, he walked among the people of the world. This world was beautiful. and their language skills were proper. They seemed to know how to speak the universal basic language and had built societies, forged statues, and made wonderful works of art. But there was a dark side to these people, as Naruto would soon learn. War was extremely common here. As Naruto stumbled onto a recent battlefield that could be no older than an hour or two, he walked through and found the green grass stained red with blood, the corpses all manner of earthling. As he walked this battlefield, he began to ponder the concept of greed and how it was inevitable for intelligent beings as powerful yet imperfect as Otsutsuki and human alike to fight, kill, destroy, and sacrifice for their own ambitions. Even now, in the distance, he believed he heard the remnants of a battle taking place. It discouraged him, but even still, these people did not deserve to have their rights to life taken away, at least not by him of all people. How could one criminal play judge, jury, and executioner to another? He listened to the distant sounds of war. Another sound caught his ear. There was the sound of heavy breathing, wheezing, whimpering. Curiosity piqued, Naruto began searching for the source of the sound. There he came across, partially buried under a small pile of bodies, a young soldier, a boy who could be no older than 12. His hair was a strange blonde compared to everyone else around him who possessed darker colored hair. This boy was unique, but whatever forms of special he brought to the table were now being sacrificed upon the altar of war. His lifeblood spilling out, his body perforated by arrow and spear alike. His wounds were fatal, and he knew it. He was dying, and the look of terror and pain were mixed upon his face into a grimace of pure suffering, slightly augmented by streams of tears running from both sides of his face. Naruto's heart was moved with compassion. He moved the bodies from the boy's legs and arms and freed him from the coffin of pure death that held him in place. Gently lifting him up into his arms, the boy looked at Naruto as though he were a demon coming to claim his soul. "Don't be afraid," Naruto said. "I'll help you." Carrying the boy back to camp, he laid the boy down upon a bed that was meant for him. Ishiki peeked in for a moment and spoke. "You've chosen a weak vessel. You may need to consider another. I don't want you permanently dying on me. That would look bad on my reputation." Naruto disregarded Ishiki's words. Instead, he cast a genjutsu on the boy and put him into a sleep-like trance. He began to remove the arrows from his body. Once they were removed, Naruto placed his hand upon the child and used his shinjutsu to heal. When the boy awakened, he realized that he had been healed. And when looking upon the smiling face of Naruto, the boy became enamored. Whether by force of pure love or something cultural, the boy offered his very life to Naruto. Permanent indenturement. "You saved my life. I owe you everything," he said. "Anything you ask of me, I will do." Naruto let out a chuckle. "For now, sleep. Your wounds and healing process has sapped a lot of your energy. I'll bring you something to eat when you awaken." And so, Naruto waited by the boy's bed in the tent. Not long after, Kaguya entered. "He's very adorable. He reminds me of you in every aspect." "What's his name?" Kaguya asked. "He told me his name was Bolt. Apparently his mother's water broke during a thunderstorm when a bolt of lightning struck a nearby tree. He said she told him it was as if the thunder spirit within the lightning leapt out and cut her water with a sword." "What a sweet story," she said. "He will make a fine vessel for you." Naruto looked back. "He's not to be my vessel." Kaguya was confused. "Then why did you save him?" Naruto thought about it. This world was to die, and if it died, so too would this child. There was only one real answer. I did it because I felt bad for him. Kaguya was slightly confused by this, but then again, she understood that Naruto's heart worked differently than most other Otsutsuki. It was even more compassionate than hers, to a fair degree. But this then begged the question, "Who will be your vessel then?" she asked. "I won't have one. Not this time." Kaguya was shocked. "What? Why?" Naruto spoke. "What Ishiki's doing, what Himoji's doing. If we do this, every living being in this universe will cease to exist. If I defy him and return to our world without the fruit, then they will kill my house. But if I do bring it back to him, and he uses it to wipe out the universe, how could I live with myself? If I can't live with myself either way, then what's the point of planting a karma seal on anyone? I'd rather die than continue this." Kaguya heard his words and grew upset, yet she said nothing. As the night passed and day came, Naruto was set to be sacrificed to the Ten Tails. As he stood there, Kaguya attempted to get Ishiki to stop it, telling him that Naruto had not yet taken a vessel and was planning to let himself die permanently. If he refuses to take a vessel and is elected to die, then that's his decision. So long as there is no negligence on my part, I am protected by the law. Naruto stood there before the creature. The young man, Bolt, standing nearby, was confused by what he was looking at. Lord Naruto, why are you doing this? If this is to be a sacrifice for something greater, then allow me to sacrifice myself in your stead. My life was already over when you rescued me. Let me be devoured in your place. Naruto smiled and then let his grin fade. It doesn't work that way, Bolt. Only one of my people are a suitable sacrifice. He then looked back and spoke. My only request is that you take Bolt under your wing. When this planet dies, take him back in my place and tell my mother that it was my desire that he should be raised and loved the same way she would raise and love me. Naruto looked back at the Ten Tails. Open wide, beastie, he said. He began to grow closer. Do something, stop him, Kaguya begged Ishiki, but Ishiki did not move. Naruto inched closer. Suddenly, there was an odd sound behind him. Naruto looked back and saw a startling sight. Ishiki had been severed in two. Behind him stood Kaguya, her clawed fingernails dripping blood. Ishiki spoke. What have you done to me? He cried out. He began to crawl toward Bolt, hoping to mark the boy and begin the process of reincarnation. Kaguya grabbed him though. Lifting the two halves of his body up, she threw him screaming alive into the mouth of the Ten Tails, which immediately began to spawn roots and transform. A massive stalk began to rise into the air, but before it could reach its full potential and drain the world of chakra, she put her hand upon it and commanded it to cease moving, permanently. Naruto looked back. Kaguya? Kaguya, what have you done? She began to laugh in a manic fashion, her eyes displaying panic as if her mind had frayed. I did it for you, Naruto, she screamed out. I did it for you. She laughed again before falling to her hands and knees only to begin crying. Bolt rushed to her side to comfort her, offering her his thanks for saving his master. Naruto stood there and looked back at the tree before returning his gaze to Kaguya. He drew closer. Why would you betray? He asked. She smiled and spoke. You couldn't do it, so I did. You forget, I am Himoji's illegitimate daughter. I am a member of his house. I broke the rule, not you. Your clan cannot be punished. My father would have to punish me and eradicate his own house if he were to do anything at all. She smiled through her tears. Now you can be free. You don't have to make the choice anymore, she said. He began to understand. I can't lose you, Naruto. Ever since childhood, I've loved you, pined for you in every way. Even if you don't love me back, I won't stand by and watch a man force you to kill yourself against your will. I'll murder anyone who even dares to try, no matter the cost. Naruto knelt down and listened to her words. Kaguya continued. Just please, promise me you won't kill yourself. I know you don't care about me, but I care. Suddenly her words were quieted when Naruto's lips pressed against hers. Tears rolled down her cheek as she accepted his kiss. Bolt offered the two their privacy by standing and turning his back to them. It wasn't much long after that Naruto and Kaguya would be married. They would adopt Bolt and make him a child of their own. An orphan of war, Naruto would not let him live unattended, nor would he force him to remain in the position of servant. No child deserved to be a servant. After Naruto and Kaguya went through their simple yet beautiful marriage ceremony, the two quickly found themselves pregnant with their first child. It was a surprise indeed, and 9 months after their wedding day, the child was born. A girl that they named Himashiki, after the leisurely ceremony that unified their love into the form of this beautiful baby girl. A couple more years passed, and the Otsutsuki were beginning to wonder, where the hell was their chakra fruit? Hijoshiki raced to Himoji's office when he got the news. Lord Himoji, you can't do this! Hijo stopped when he saw two men standing there. Himoji spoke. Ah, Lord Hijoshiki, you're just in time. Please meet my great-nephew Momoshiki and his attendant Kinshiki. Hijo was slow to continue, but he knew he couldn't cower in the face of this, not now. What is the meaning of this, he asked. Himoji began to pour himself a drink. I've decided to send Momoshiki and Kinshiki to Earth in hopes of retrieving the chakra fruit. Why? That's not what I mean, Hijo said. He raised a piece of paper. It said that the council had issued an order to execute Naruto for dereliction of duty in regards to the Great Directive. Ah yes, that. We can only assume that the reason why they have yet to return is because your brother's opinion on the Great Directive has caused him to betray his group. Chances are, Ishiki and my beloved daughter Kaguya are dead. You have no proof of this whatsoever, Hijoshiki shouted. That's what Momoshiki and Kinshiki are being sent for, to confirm that they're dead and that Naruto killed them. No, let's be honest here, Himoji. This is your personal hit squad. Momoshiki has always done your dirty work because you're too afraid to get your own hands dirty. You've never cared for the Otsutsuki clan, only yourself. If you did, you'd understand that the vast majority of houses now see that the Great Directive is a lie. Himoji shot back his drink with a roll of his eyes. Leave us, he said to Momoshiki and Kinshiki. The two exited the room. Himoji beckoned Hijoshiki in closer. We've been needing to have this talk for a long time, but neither of us had the balls to start it, Himoji said. Well, now that the topic's up, we might as well hash this out before things escalate too far. Pouring another drink for himself before pouring one for Hijoshiki, he brought it over. Take this. It'll make it easier on the both of us. Himoji took the drink and slowly began to nurse it. Himoji spoke. Let's be clear about something. Your father was a good man, and I believed you would follow in his footsteps, but it seems I was wrong, Himoji said. You were wrong to believe that you could control me, Hijo said. The way of the Otsutsuki is antiquated. We've developed a conscience that can't be silenced by tradition anymore, and you need to understand that. Shibai's dream is a poison to us, and it's time that we leave it behind. You see, that's where you're wrong. You want to hew down those trees out there, Himoji asked. You forget who it was who helped plant those trees. You forget who it was who fought alongside Shibai to unify our people. My father was Shibai's only living relative to survive the war, and by that right of birth, those trees you wish to cut down are my property, and I won't let you do it, Himoji said. Hijoshiki took another sip of his drink. You have no choice. The will of the council is absolute, and they're in agreement that chopping the tree down is the only way to see if what I say has merit. Himoji looked back. Ah, yes, a majority, 6-5. Hardly anything I can't stop from happening. You've already failed. The motion has passed and cannot be undone. Unless a new councilman is appointed, Himoji said, finishing the law Hijoshiki was quoting. Hijo stopped as he listened to what Himoji was saying. Himoji took another sip of his drink. Did you seriously think I would stand by and watch 1,000 years of work and effort be destroyed by one rambunctious upstart who can't see past his own crippled worldview? No. There are some things a man must take into his own hands, and sometimes the law is one of these things. Hijoshiki threw his glass into the burning fireplace. Is that supposed to be a threat, old man? Because I can promise you I'm younger, faster, and stronger than you. Himoji sat down in his chair and pulled out a book and began to read it. You know, Hijoshiki, I don't doubt that. With as many worlds as you've conquered, you've done more for the Great Directive in your short years than most of us do our whole lives. And it's because of that I know it needs to end. Himoji looked up for a second, then back at his book. Perhaps. There's no way I could logically threaten someone like you who has eaten about as many chakra fruit as I. Especially when I'm in the twilight years of my life. You're likely stronger and faster than I, but I can tell you one thing you're not. Smarter. You're not smarter than me. Hijoshiki stood there, confused for a moment, when suddenly he felt his vision blurring. His feet went out from under him. Hitting his knees, he couldn't find his equilibrium. Finally hitting. Honestly, I'm surprised it took this long. You really must be a hardy fellow indeed. What did you do? Hijo demanded. I added a little taste of Modoku powder to your drink. As I said, I'm not allowing anyone to get in my way. Not your brother, not your mother, not your father, and not you. My father? Hijo asked. Himoji nodded. He assumed I never knew about his views. I trusted him as my confidant for many years, but there's a reason so many people support you now more than me. Do you seriously think people just started following you because you're a handsome devil? No. He turned my own people against me, serving your purpose before you even began to serve it yourself. You killed him? Hijoshiki asked. Nodding his head in a mocking, melancholic smile, Himoji spoke. It really is a shame that your father contracted the one disease our medical shinjutsu couldn't cure, isn't it? What terrible luck. Hijoshiki reached out his hand as if it were a claw to kill Himoji with. Himoji sat forward as Hijoshiki's strength continued to give out. It's a shame this had to happen, Hijoshiki. I really won't enjoy telling my daughter that her husband had a sudden heart attack due to the ashes he breathed in while surveying the divine trees. It'll be a tragedy, but don't worry, I'll make sure your seat is filled by someone who loves our clan just as much as you. One who will sacrifice everything for the Great Directive. Himoji stood and began to leave the room. Hijoshiki called out for him. Himoji! Himoji looked back at Hijoshiki and spoke once more. Goodbye, Hijoshiki. Naruto worked the land, tilling it and readying it to grow crops. He had never farmed before. He had no idea how it worked, but with the abundance of life that existed on this world, there was no way he wouldn't attempt it. At first, the people were very scared by Naruto's appearance, thinking him to be some god or demon, but he quieted their hearts by telling them that he was just a man. A strange one, but a man all the same. A man who wanted to learn how to contribute to their society. And so he began to study agriculture under the greatest farmers of the land, learning how to work it, how to make the land more capable of growing crops. The hot sun beat down upon his neck as he swung his hoe, pulling up the dirt. As he stood there, the sun's heat causing a waving effect before him, he saw the form of Bolt coming his way. He smiled. "Bringing me water. Or are you here to tell me it's lunchtime?" he asked. There was no answer. Confused, he drew closer. "Bolt?" It was then that he saw the boy was covered in wounds, blood, and bruises. He rushed to his side. "Bolt!" The boy collapsed into his arms. "What's wrong? What happened?" Bolt pointed back toward the house. "Strange men. Horns. Lady Kaguya," he said before passing out into his arms. Carrying Bolt to a nearby tree, he laid him under the shade. Looking back at his house, he knew something was wrong. Running over, he grabbed his hoe for self-defense. As soon as he entered the house, he heard his baby girl crying. Naruto entered the room to see Momoshiki there, holding Kaguya by the collar. He threw her against the wall. "Ah, the man of the house," Momoshiki said. Naruto stood there, resolute yet non-threatening. A sign of strength, but a silent olive branch toward the intruders. These two weren't here for olives, though. They wanted another kind of fruit. "I can't help but see that you like to plant seeds and harvest food, Lord Farmer," Momoshiki said. "Your most impressive crop of all stands tall against the horizon. How much would it cost for me to have it?" "Not for sale," Naruto said. "Everything's for sale," Momoshiki said. "Even that which a man swears to never lose." As he said this, his eyes slowly turned toward Hima in the crib, crying. Momoshiki cut his eyes back with a nefarious grin before popping a few cashews he'd found in a bowl on the table. Naruto readied his hoe. "Get lost," he said. "You don't come into my house and threaten me." "Let's make this clear, Naruto," Momoshiki said. "You're here. Kaguya's here. Ishiki is not here. And that tree has not sucked the life out of this place. Let's not beat around the bush. You've broken our laws, and the penalty for that is death. But first, I've been instructed to offer you amnesty if you give up the chakra fruit. You and your little family can keep living on this dirt ball, playing in the mud until the heat death of the universe. Sound good?" "I think I'll pass," Naruto said, knowing what the chakra fruit would lead to. Momoshiki sighed. He snapped his fingers. "Kinshiki, execute him, please." Kinshiki formed an axe from his chakra and rushed Naruto. Naruto jumped back and out of the house, out into the open. Kinshiki followed, and Momoshiki watched from the doorway. Kinshiki prepared to swing his axe, but Naruto rolled to the side, swinging his hoe at Kinshiki, catching him in the shoulder. This guy was nothing compared to Naruto. Naruto not only had devoured a chakra fruit, but had worked tirelessly all of his life to build up the frame he now had. Kinshiki would discard his axe in exchange for a set of swords. This allowed him to increase his striking speed, but none of it prepared Kinshiki for what Naruto would do next. Awakening his Rinnegan, he would use the Diva Path to gently grab Kinshiki's foot and pull it closer with universal pull. Kinshiki slipped and went down. Before he had the chance to get up, Naruto buried the head of the hoe into his chest, not just once, but 4 times, until Kinshiki stopped resisting. Catching his breath, Naruto pulled back. Momoshiki swallowed a few more cashews before making his way out to examine Kinshiki. "I'm sorry, my lord," Kinshiki said. Frankly, that was pathetic. "He's a farmer for Shibai's sake," Momoshiki said. Letting out a sigh, he spoke. "At least you'll serve as a power boost for me." Transforming Kinshiki into a chakra pill, he swallowed him to get the boost of power he needed. Momoshiki would then transform his body, bringing out his 3rd Rinnegan. "While my peer may have never tasted a true chakra fruit, the same is not true of me. It's a rite of passage for any soon-to-be lord or lady. So why don't we skip the easy stuff? I've got a schedule to keep, and frankly, I'm growing bored of you and your hovel." Naruto took a deep breath and transformed himself as well. He stood there, facing Momoshiki. As the two Otsutsuki stood, fairly evenly matched, Naruto raised his hoe, still dripping with Kinshiki's blood. "Oh, come on, Naruto. Are you still planning to disgrace yourself with a weapon as that?" Naruto remained silent. That was until Momoshiki used the Diva Path to rip it from Naruto's hand, tossing it away. Naruto entered a fighting stance. "The fact that you used that tool tells me you don't know the true powers of the Rinnegan. His third golden Rinnegan in the center of his head opened up and began to shoot from within black rods. Naruto managed to dodge them. Forming hand signs, he blew a fireball at Momoshiki, who would raise his right hand to absorb the chakra and fire it back at Naruto even larger. Naruto was blown back by it. His skin burned from the fire. He began to expend chakra to regenerate, all the while his field was set ablaze. Momoshiki drew closer. You know, normally, this is nothing personal. I generally don't care about the people I kill. But you? No, I want to enjoy this. You and your late brother were both thorns in my ass. Anybody who would like to destroy the great directive is my enemy. Late brother? Naruto questioned. Momoshiki stopped and began to laugh. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah, he's burning in hell right now. Good riddance, I say. I think when I'm finished with you, I'll kill your wife, your children, and then travel back and stage a very convincing accident for your mother. Naruto, enraged by this, rushed at Momoshiki again. He knew that he couldn't use ninjutsu against him without it getting absorbed and redirected. Despite this, every strike was still being caught. Momoshiki was simply better at throwing hands than Naruto was. His taijutsu was impeccable. It was no wonder that he was Himoji's personal hitman. Naruto threw a punch to jab Momoshiki's palm. In doing so, Momoshiki recoiled a bit. Ow, damn, he shouted. Naruto laughed. I guess it's really hard to catch fists when you've got an eyeball at the center of your hand, he said. Momoshiki turned around and began to summon more chakra rods. Naruto dodged and drew closer. Once more, he struck the eye. Momoshiki took a step back again. This time, however, Naruto reacted too. Naruto began to form a Rasengan in his hand. Momoshiki saw this slowly growing orb and smiled. A pure ball of chakra. You must be an idiot. I'll simply absorb it. Are you so sure? Naruto asked, holding up his hand to show that he was holding an as of yet still glowing red Rinnegan. Momoshiki was confused. Looking down at his right hand, he noticed that the Rinnegan had been plucked from it. Naruto, knowing the power of the Rinnegan, swallowed it whole to get a greater power boost, which he poured into his Rasengan, making it all the greater. Jumping into the air, he moved before Momoshiki could react, and pressed the sphere into his opponent, eradicating him down to the cellular level. With the enemy gone, Naruto was able to relax. That was until he saw that his house was on fire. No! He ran inside to find Kaguya covering their baby girl. Naruto picked them both up and leapt out the back door before the building could collapse. Bringing them to Bolt, he sat them down. Naruto, what are we going to do? Naruto looked back at the house and then to the divine tree. Something I should have done years ago. I'm gonna help finish what my brother started. As he looked at the tree, he turned his gaze back down at Kaguya. Take the kids to the neighbor's house and wait for me there. I'll come back. What are you going to do? I'm going to set the Otsutsuki free. Once and for all, he said. Naruto would go to the divine tree and place his hand upon it. Sensing the raw energy within, he knew it was strong. From nothing more than the small amount of energy it took from the earth, it was already supercharged. This planet amazes me, but it's time to pluck this thing up by the roots, he said. Absorbing it into himself, he took the form of the Ten Tails. Struggling to regain control, he compressed it down. From behind, 10 black orbs appeared to hover behind him. Using Yomotsu Hirasaka, he teleported back to their home planet. The first thing he did was rush home to his mother. Entering, he saw her laying on the ground, bleeding. Beside her, Himoji was lighting a cigar. Taking a deep drag, he let it out. You know, Shinsetsu and Awaremi were once considered by me to be my most trustworthy supporters. I felt I could tell them anything. I did tell them everything. Big mistake. Here's a piece of advice, Naruto. When you enter the world of politics, don't trust anyone, especially your best friends. Because the one thing you can always be sure of is, your weaknesses will always betray you. Naruto checked his mother. No need to bother, she's already dead, he said. But if it's any consolation, she didn't suffer. I owed her that at least. Suddenly, an explosive blast sent Himoji out of the chair and out the window. He landed in the backyard, where once Naruto had served him as errand boy. No more though. Naruto came down to the ground before Himoji. Shut up. Your words mean nothing to me, Naruto said. I don't care how you feel or what you think. I won't be made drunk by your need for political drama, you old bastard. The only thing I've come here to do is hew down these damned trees. When this world sees what it can be without the curse of this hunger, you'll be forgotten, lost in the annals of a cursed history as just one more adherent of a foolish order. Naruto looked out to the trees. Now stay here and suffer till I get back. You're not gonna finish me? Himoji asked. Naruto knelt down. Oh yes, trust me, I'm going to kill you. After all, you broke the law too by killing my brother and mother. Does the law not dictate that you should suffer capital punishment? You'll get it. But first, I want to make you watch as everything you threw your life away for is destroyed. Naruto began to walk away, but before he could, he was stopped by the sound of laughter and cracking bones. Naruto looked back to see Himoji rising to his feet again. Popping his neck, he spoke. You think you're the strongest just because you've absorbed a divine tree? Himoji asked. I'll tell you, just as I told your brother before I killed him. Those trees were planted by my father alongside Shibai. They're my birthright. You think I wouldn't take the power of a divine tree for myself? How do you surmise I've lived as long as I have? Himoji ripped his shirt from his torso to display the Magatama markings on his collarbone, the symbol of the 6 paths on his back. 10 truth-seeker orbs began to form behind him. You're so foolish and naive. It is my family that provides the divine seeds to the Otsutsuki clan. I am the great directive, Himoji shouted as a staff formed in his hand, a Rinne Sharingan awakening upon his forehead. Naruto lowered into a defensive stance. Himoji laughed. The only one who could possibly defeat me was your brother, and he's long dead by now. You think you can do anything to me? You're nothing but that same child from all those years ago who couldn't do anything right. Well, it seems as though you still haven't learned. Maybe you need to be flogged once again. Naruto stood there. No, you're just a desperate old man trying to hold on to what's left of your influence. It's time for you to face facts. Your power's all but dried up now. It's time for you to put both your feet into the grave and lay down. It's time for me to bury you. Naruto ran forward and swung his staff at Himoji, who caught it with his own. Interesting. A bit stronger than I assumed, but still not enough to defeat me, he said before grabbing Naruto by his collar and flinging him through the wall into the darkened dirt beyond the gate. Himoji stepped through. It's been way too long since I've gotten to do something like this, he said. Kicking Naruto in the stomach, he sent him rolling. Naruto managed to stand and swing his staff again, but Himoji simply dodged under it. Gripping Naruto by the collar, he threw him into the distance. Drawing closer, Himoji spoke. That 10 tails you carry inside of you. You don't deserve it. It's mine. From here, though, Himoji recognized that the other lords and ladies were stirring. Their fight had caused a commotion. It had awakened the neighbors from their sleep. Himoji cursed, knowing he couldn't let them see him. Shit, he said, dragging it out as he thought about what to do next. Grabbing Naruto, he spoke. Why don't we take a little trip? Suddenly, they were teleported, taken to a dimension separate from the one they were in. Himoji spoke. Welcome, Naruto. This is an honor so few get to see. This is the nursery grounds for the divine trees. The entire world seemed to be covered in divine trees and 10 tailses. This is where I harvest and experiment to make the trees all the more potent. This is the dimension I inherited from my father, who in turn took the first divine tree seed from Shibai and created all that you see before you. Naruto looked around. It was terrifying how many of these things existed, each one starving. The ground no longer held any nutrients. So many of the 10 tailses had died, the only ones left alive opting to feed off each other. It was a perversion of nature and the heart of the gluttony that had infected the Otsutsuki people. You're sick. Can you not see that this is wrong? Himoji laughed. What is right and wrong anyway? Can you eat it? Can you spend it? Can you sleep with it or sell it? You should know by now, Naruto. The Otsutsuki have evolved beyond the concept of morality. Himoji laughed. Naruto looked to Himoji with disgust at what he was saying. If you truly believe that, then there's nothing I could ever say to help you. Not that I wanted to anyway. As the two continued to fight, Himoji beat Naruto down until he could hardly move. He began to drag Naruto down the halls of his factory. Once he got to the end, he held Naruto out over a fresh batch of 10 tailses. Face it, Naruto, this always was your lot in life. Born a servant to your own father, serving Ishiki as a sacrifice, and now you will serve the Otsutsuki clan once again by serving as the sacrifice that gives life to a new divine tree. How does it feel to know that nothing you wish to accomplish came to be? That your life amounted up to only serving the very thing you hated most? Naruto smiled, blood still dripping from his lip, eyeing Himoji through a swollen eye. I'd ask you the same. Himoji smiled at Naruto's tenacity. "I'd love to answer you, Naruto," the old man said through a cocky smile, "but I wouldn't really know." He let go of Naruto and let him begin to fall. As he began to fall though, Naruto grabbed Himoji's ankle, pulling the old man down as well. Himoji grabbed the ledge. "You fool! What are you doing?" he demanded to know. "If I have to go down, Himoji, then I'm dragging you with me." Naruto continued trying to climb the man, gripping onto the belt of his pants. The two struggled as Naruto reached for a ledge. Jumping from Himoji, Naruto grabbed onto the ledge and began to haul himself up. "You little son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill you." Forming a chakra rod in his hand, he prepared to stab Naruto with it, but before he could, something stopped him. He looked back to see a root of sorts wrapped around his foot. Looking down, he saw it was attached to a ten-tails, one of the many looking up at him with starving eyes. "No," Himoji said, cutting at the vines of the blade. But the moment he cut the vine, two more grabbed on, one on the hand and the other on the foot. Wait, stop," he shouted. They began to pull him down. He gripped onto the ledge once more to stop himself from falling. The elderly man, fear present in his gaze, looked up at Naruto. "Please, save me," he said. Naruto thought about this for a grand total of 0.5 seconds before responding, "Nah." The roots pulled Himoji down and began to devour him, his screams echoing up from below. It started a sort of strange reaction. Himoji's death spawned a divine tree, but the other ten-tailses nearby were so hungry that they began to devour the divine tree as well, each of them turning into divine trees themselves until being devoured by the others. An endless cycle that represented everything Himoji ever stood for. A never-ending hunger that led nowhere and in the end would only bring death and desolation. Turning away, Naruto left the dimension to consume itself and returned to the Otsutsuki homeworld. Once he arrived, he transformed himself into the massive rabbit form of the ten-tails and began to approach the divine trees as the lords and ladies around watched. Tearing the stalks down to nothing, he turned back to them and spoke. "Let me show to you the beauty of a world undefiled by greed." The ten-tails touched its hand to the ground and began to force out its own nature energy to re-energize the planet. Slowly, grass and various flora began to spring up from the ground, as though Naruto had rolled time back 1,000 years. As the once dead dirt began to bring forth green life, the people were amazed. The oceans turned back from a sickly brown to a clear blue, and the crimson moons above healed from their bloody color back to pure white. In the span of one night, the famine that had left the likes of Lord Arasoi and Koran desperate enough to fight for their food had ended. Naruto would bring his wife and children back from Earth to the Otsutsuki throne world. Due to what Naruto had done, they quickly named him one of the next councilmen to replace Hijoshiki and Himoji. As his first act, he would request the passing of legislation to officially abolish the Great Directive, which the Otsutsuki Council and every lord and lady around would unanimously vote in favor of. And with so small of an act as saving the world, the Otsutsuki left behind their evil ways. Instead, they selected to take what was left of their power and use it to reverse the damage. Often, they would return to Earth to collect just enough energy to bring to another planet that had once been killed by them to revive them. And from there, they forged a new Great Directive to begin planting seeds of another sort, becoming caretakers of this world instead of its destroyers, reaching out with a kind hand to all other civilizations, sharing food and culture with them. Naruto's life wouldn't last forever, and he would never truly know what it was that he'd started. But after 1,000 years had passed, the universe was a vastly different place. Teeming with life, a new government had formed, one on a galactic scale. This new government sought to continue Naruto's will, passing along his desire and love for farming. None would ever forget the servant boy turned politician who, through sheer grit and the help of his family, was able to not only change his world for the better, but the whole universe. And that's where I'm gonna call it for today. I hope you all enjoyed this story. As I've said many times before, the Otsutsuki are a blank canvas that is just begging to be painted upon. The emptiness of their lore gives them an air of mystery that makes them one of the most intriguing races in the entire series. But further than that, it's very good for people like me who enjoy telling stories. Because we know nothing about them, we can get creative without having to worry so much about being tripped up by canon. But all that being said, all this does is make me wonder how close I am to what the Otsutsuki clan really is like. Looking at the way Kaguya was in the past, it's obvious to me that even if she was kind of unstable, there was something that she seemed to crave more than a chakra fruit, and it makes me wonder if she's not the only Otsutsuki who can turn down their craving for power in an effort to preserve something. I'd like to think Sensei will flesh them out even more in the future. If so, I'll be here for it. Give me that sweet, sweet lore. But that's enough chatter out of me. What did you think of the video? Did you enjoy it? Let us know down in the comments below and tell us your favorite parts. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as well. It helps support us and gives you access to that bell icon, which will let you stay informed when more videos like this one drop. And if you can't wait for those, then check out these other videos from our channel. I bet you'll love them. Anyway, until next time, peace out.